Welcome back, everyone. This is Danny Zavala with Tread Lightly Talks, powered by Sustainable Wenatchee. We have an amazing individual, Lori Nitchals. She's joining us, and she's going to be talking about wildfire evacuation preparedness, which is a huge thing that should always be on our mind just because it's like clockwork nowadays. You know, we get into the summer months and fires are a real issue. So one of the quotes that I really liked, and I'm just going to jump right into this, Lori, is in an emergency, you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to the level of your training and preparation. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I have a question for you, Lori. Knowing that, you know, wildfires in this area are so predictable nowadays, what goes on through your mind, or what went on through your mind this last month with all that smoke?
Well, the first thing was that I was grateful that I had prepared my go bag, and this is for my dog. Her go bag back in the spring. Every spring I put this together, I update it, I make sure that everything's in there that I think I'm going to need if I have to leave, and it's kept right side by the door until the end of fire season, is when the snow flies. The last few months, my big concern, of course, our last few weeks was smoke. Now I did, because I prepared, I have some N95s with the respirator valve specifically for smoke that I got 3 years ago. And I had some in here, I had some in the house, so I could walk go out back with the dog and not have to have the smoke affect me as much. I do make sure that I pay really good attention to the alert sense that I signed up for. Okay. And I look on Facebook to make sure to see, is there anything close by? Because I liked on Facebook the Chelan County Emergency Management, Chelan County Sheriff's Department, etc., so that I can be alerted. I also, if there is a fire, if I'm on level 1, I let my neighbors know, because they may not be as vigilant as I am. So what goes through my head is, my house doesn't burn up, but I hope I can get out before it does. Yeah. And I'm comfortable that you can't think of everything, but I've done the best I can.
Definitely. And I like how you said you like a few different pages on social media, which kind of aid with your evacuation preparedness, just because you get updates from these different entities about fires in the area or natural disasters that are coming. So that was a really good point. I like that. And just so we can get a little bit more info about you, Lori, can you just give us like a quick snippet, like where you were born, raised, a little about you and your passions?
Well, I was born in Dallas, but didn't stay there very long. So I was raised in the Northeast. I moved out west in 1990, and to be a logistician for Outward Bound up in Zavala. I wanted to check that out, and I fell in love with the North Cascades, so I stayed and went from Zavala to Winthrop to Leavenworth to here. I'm a retired registered nurse. I've been in nursing since 1973, and I retired in 2011 after my husband passed away. And then I took extra classes to be called a parish nurse, which is, you have to be licensed in the state that you're calling yourself that. And you work with the minister of your faith community so that you can help with faith and health and safety, patient advocacy. And I read a weekly article on those topics that I've been doing since 2012. I'm an avid hiker. I'm an avid gardener. Yeah. And I love golden retriever.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm not going to lie, I did have to Google what a parish nurse was, so I'm really glad that you clarified there, just because I had no idea what that was.
There's very few of us around.
Yeah. Well,
for me, it's my way of giving back to the fellowship after my husband died, and they took such good care of me. And it was my way of giving back.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing. And you're not just a gardener, it sounds like you're a pretty avid gardener on the sustainability side. And just I was reading through your bio, and you have some pretty cool accomplishments within your own garden. Can you tell us about that?
Well, we moved to here in 2002, and my late husband was an environmental engineer, and so we wanted to make sure that we had a more sustainable yard, and so we have a small 20 by 30 foot plot just for the dog, and so we had Deep Roots out of Dryden, who do a lot of native landscaping. So they helped design what we wanted. We wanted a bird-friendly, wildlife-friendly yard with lots of hummingbird plants. I have an actual hummingbird garden area. I have lots of trees and shrubs that have berries that birds like. We put in a waterfalls and a very small pond so the birds can really enjoy that. And I'll tell you, during the smoke, it was amazing how many birds were coming to bathe, because I'm sure the smoke was bothering, affecting them. And I've never seen that many.
Wow.
So that was, I'm really glad I could help with that.
Yeah, that's super neat. And I want to dive right into wildfire evacuation preparedness. So how did you get started with that?
Well, back in 1994, I was living in Leavenworth. Being a Northeast girl, I had no clue about wildfires. And when the fires of '94 came, I had never been so scared in all my life. Getting that knock on the door at 2 a.m. from the sheriff's department saying, you're on level 2, you need to be ready to leave in 15 minutes if we go to level 3. I didn't know what any of that was. So I got myself packed up, and I was too scared to even take a shower because I was afraid they'd knock again and tell me to leave. So after all that trauma, I decided I need a list. I got to get, I like to be prepared. I don't know if it's just my personality or if it's a nurse thing. Nurses were always prepared. We always have plan A, plan B. We're doing care plans, and if this doesn't work, we do that. So I have evolved from '94 to now a list of things that I do and I've been doing them. I will also want to, on a side note, say that when my husband suddenly stopped breathing, and he was going to the emergency room, having all my important papers in one area, I knew exactly where I could grab my healthcare power of attorney, when he was in the hospital. And then after, unfortunately, he passed away, I had everything I needed right there. I didn't have to go scrambling through piles of unfiled papers, through file cabinets that so having that is not just for wildfire, but having your important documents in one small area, especially having them transportable, I think is really important. And these are my important papers.
Wow.
Here, everything, spare car keys, things like that. So yeah, so that fits right in there.
And so you've been doing this since 1994, getting this list together, packing things, knowing what's essential, what's non-essential. I'm sure a lot of people are a little overwhelmed, like, okay, how do I get started? What are some few key points that you would say, hey, this is what you absolutely need? I know I was reading through the evacuation plan, and it says, what are the 5 most important things to grab when evacuating? And I thought it was pretty cool how it says people, pets, prescriptions, papers, and photographs. I was like, wow, I never even thought about, all 5 of those things, but I thought that was pretty neat, and they're all P's.
That's exactly what you need to focus on. That is not, I didn't make that up. I mean, that comes, I can't use the Red Cross or FEMA or somewhere. But if you have minutes to leave your house, first you want to get your people out. So you want to get the kids in the car. You want to get, and then the next thing you want to do is make sure your pets are in the car. Mm-hmm. So grab your stuff, get your people and pets in the car.
Yeah.
And then if you have a garage, it's best to do it with the garage door closed, because literally kids might start running around. Pets are going to be totally freaked out no matter how well trained they are. And to get them in the car, door shut, then you open your garage door, then you go out. If you don't have a garage, make sure your pets are on a leash or in a crate, and that your kids, you're hanging onto their hands. Prescriptions, so many people, that's very important. So I would keep extra prescriptions in my toiletry kit here, just so I would have a few weeks worth if I needed it. I have my over-the-counter stuff, you know, like some aspirin or something too, or Tylenol in there. And then I have my important papers that I have gone through. And if you have photographs, something that I have done is now, because most of my photographs are digital, and this is several years of work that I did. This isn't something you're going to do in an afternoon. But I just went through all my old family photographs that are in albums, hard copy, and just quick photos of them. So even, there's no way I'm going to do a lifetime worth of old hard copy albums. I also have taken pictures of everything in my house. Every spring, I just go around. It's so easy now with the digital, you know, the phones and stuff. I just take a picture of every room, of every closet, every drawer, everything. So I know what I had. And then if I have family heirlooms, at least I'll have the photos. There's a lot of this. If you have minutes to leave, you're not going to have time to grab all that.
Yeah. And at least you take something with you. If, you know, those family heirlooms were to vanish with the fires, you have something to look back on.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. And I was looking through that sheet too. It says that people should practice a 10-minute timed evacuation. Is that 10 minutes? Is that like the minimum? Is that the maximum amount of time? Or is that just kind of like 10 minutes? That's pretty standard to evacuate.
So that would be worst case scenario, probably.
Oh.
So 10 minutes, what you want to do is what I was reading is that from the time you know you have to leave, can you be literally out on the road and going? That would be a case scenario, like the stuff that's going on in California. So I practice every spring with my dog. I have a garage, luckily, so I don't have to worry about trying to grab a leash for her. I keep a leash in the car anyway. She has extra food and things like this in here. So I just grab it, I leave, I put it in there, and I see I'm driving out. We can do that in 5 minutes or less.
I envy you just because sometimes when I'm going to work, I'll come in and out of the house about 2 or 3 times because I'm forgetting something. So, you know, what should only take me a 5-minute process to get out of the house usually takes about a 10-minute process. So I definitely need to get prepared and come up with an evacuation plan. So I'm going to get on to that. And my next question for you, Lori, is so this is super rewarding just because you also do community lectures, you have some of your documents available online, but what is like the most rewarding moment that you've experienced throughout doing this this wildfire evacuation preparedness?
Well, the most rewarding thing for me is feeling like that I may have helped maybe save someone's life, because I'm way more about lives than I'm about stuff. I can do stuff, but can't save a life. And especially for me too, being a real dog lover, pet lover, I want to make sure those pets get out, because I know people, well, I can't get my cat or my dog is, you know, I want to make sure that nothing harm comes to them. So if you're prepared ahead of time, if you have a cat, make sure you bring a litter box with you, because I had a friend who evacuated during the 2015 fires and got to a friend's house and it's midnight and there was no kitty litter box. So those types of things having already ready to go. I love watching people's faces going, wow, I didn't even think of that. So my purpose as a parish nurse is to educate people so they can make an informed decision about what to do, to be a resource for them. And that's very rewarding for me.
Yeah, a quick story for you. So back in 2015, during the Chelan wildfires, I was hanging out with a friend, Jared McGuffin, and his house was on the Chelan Butte. It was the last house up the mountain, so right behind the high school. And It was scary. That fire started whipping down, and we started digging trench lines. But of course, the fire was so hot and it was moving so fast with the wind, it was coming straight for his house. And thankfully, we had one of those big 747s or those big jets come down and just drop retardant right on his house, which the flames were 10 feet away. They already started melting the siding of his house. And we probably could have used something like this, something to get all of his belongings out, because we were so preoccupied of trying to take care of the fire, which there's no way we were going to do, because it was so hot and it was moving so fast, that we at least could have taken the things that mattered the most to him.
That's a really good point. And one thing that I would like to emphasize is don't try to stay and save your house. Don't make it so you wait. So I might even leave if it was a level 2. I may not wait till level 3, because once you're a level 3, you got a bajillion cars on that road trying to leave too. So depending on your situation, do you have an elderly person in your household that moves pretty slowly? Do you have livestock that might need to be moved? You might want to be thinking about, when you're on a level 1, when I'm on level 1 now, I put stuff in them, just in case. These fires now are so fast.
Yeah.
And opportunity to practice. See, I look at it this way. I've been taking recertified in CPR for 40 years. I don't just do it once 40 years ago and then all of a sudden now somebody says, well, you're a nurse, you should know CPR. Well, you practice. It's practice, practice. I had someone who was in one of my presentations who said, wow, the practice part, I had a plan in my head. I was just gonna, hook the boat up to the boat thing on the truck, throw everything into the boat and drive off. Well, he never practiced it. And even though he's done it 1,000 times, because the fire's coming so fast, his hands were shaking so hard, they ended up just having to drive away with the clothes on their back.
Wow.
Didn't practice. You have to practice.
Yeah, and you mentioned livestock, and I heard of some stories up north this last month, where livestock unfortunately didn't make it. So that's really unfortunate for those that lost so much up there. But also, having a plan and being prepared, since we are in fire country, I think is crucial.
I agree.
Awesome. Well, I know you kind of mentioned some of these already, but Lori, if someone wants to get some more information, regarding the content that you have created, or even see some of those weekly newsletter or monthly newsletters that you generate, how do they find them? How do they get in contact with you? Can they get in contact with you? And how do they get started?
Well, you can email me at parishnurse@cascadeuu.org, I believe, or
double check
onto the Cascade Unitarian Universalist Fellowship website.
Okay. Down below.
Let's see. What else do you want to know? I mean, I had a.
And as far as like the wildfire evacuation plan, the one that we were kind of reviewing, is there a certain place that they could find that? The plan that you have constructed over the years?
Yes. As of tomorrow, it's supposed to be on the Cascade Unitarian Universalist website under resources.
Okay.
And it's a pastoral care team.
Okay, perfect. And then before we jump off, is there anything else that you'd like to add to this conversation? That way people are prepared for evacuation.
Onto the Cascade Unitarian Universalist Fellowship website.
And as far as like the wildfire evacuation plan, the one that we were kind of reviewing, is there a certain place that they could find that? The plan that you have constructed over the years?
Yes. as of tomorrow, it's supposed to be on the Cascade Unitarian Universalist website under resources.
Okay.
And it's a pastoral care team.
Okay, perfect. And then before we jump off, is there anything else that you'd like to add to this conversation? That way people are prepared for evacuation?
I feel that if you do one small step at a time, and maybe set aside a fun time, especially you have kids, get each kid a little backpack, or, I mean, you shouldn't even have to buy anything. I just have to have these for some extras, and make it fun. Have a treat, like, okay, I want you to put underwear and clothes and this, and put your favorite toys, and what do you want? And then whoever gets it done first, let's get a treat.
Yeah.
Do it every year. Come on, we're going to see who gets in the car the fastest, and they can get a treat. Those kind of things. If you make it fun and you don't overwhelm yourself, so take, once a month, do something that's on my list just to prepare.
I like that, just because kids feed off of challenges, and when they're timed, they want to be as fast as possible. And really, I mean, those are the tools that they need for an evacuation, is be as fast as possible and grab the things that they truly need. So I think that's awesome. Well, Lori, it was great having you. Thanks for joining us. I'm sure a lot of people are jotting down notes, trying to figure out what they need for their wildfire evacuation preparedness plan. And if you have any questions, we're going to put Lori's email down below. We're also going to put links down below with her evacuation plan that she's constructed with a few other entities over the past 20 plus years, it seems like. So Lori, thanks again.